Philadelphia. I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday to all across the Delaware Valley. This is the Anthony Gargano Show presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out the credit union difference at truemark.com/PHLY. Tough night last night. The news yesterday was one that shook us. The best catcher in baseball out. I mean, torn meniscus, you had surgery. They're saying a month. I think it's going to be closer to 2 before he gets back. He is one of the he's probably the heart and soul guy of this team. You have Bryce, obviously. You have Schwarber, who's the leader. But the rock of this team that's there is the best catcher in baseball, JT Realmuto. I mean, when you think about what JT means, he's an incredible defensive catcher. He's got an amazing arm. Right? You can't run on him. He's a great defensive catcher, and he's a bat. I mean, he's, to me, you got Contreras, both of them, but the Milwaukee Contreras is good. You got a couple guys, Moreno in Arizona, who's good. A couple guys out in the American League. But, JT, to me, is the best. But Will Smith, the Dodgers, I go JT. I think JT means a ton. It's amazing, this team, the run that it's on. Last night, there's no JT. Turner's been out, right? So we haven't had Turner really for most of the year. And yet they just win. And last night, again, Wheeler goes through his, like most of the aces, a little shaky early, and then he just turns it on, and he's unhittable, unstoppable, and he gives you 7 strong, and you're able to get him out early, too, and not tax him. And you go to Strom, he doesn't even throw 100 pitches, Wheeler. And then there it is, it's June. So if it's June, it's Schwarber month, and he bangs 2 yesterday out of Fenway. Phillies win. Look, you're going to hold on. You're going to piecemeal until you get JT back. I mean, that's kind of what you're going to do. And you're already doing that. You did that with Turner. You're going to do that with Realmuto. And, you see where you're at. Again, they seem impervious to injuries. It's pretty wild. We're going to look back on this thing. No Marsh, no Turner, now JT. I mean, they're getting banged up, yet all they do is win. And they go to Fenway last night, and they win in Fenway. And speaking of Fenway, I don't know about you guys. I'm watching the game, and I'm looking around at all the Celtics fans. Now, listen, God bless them, right? If you're a Bostonian, you are loving it, right? They're playing tonight. It's game 3. Right, they're 2 games away from an NBA championship that it has eluded Tatum and Brown. So, it's a momentous thing going on in Boston. And I look at Boston, and it's funny. We were talking about in the morning before the show this morning, and look, they are our biggest rival. And I always joke about it because I hate the Celtics and I hate the Red Sox. I hate the Red Sox, especially when they won. And there was all these closet Red Sox people come out of the woodwork. I'm a Boston fan. And there are even those here. I got a buddy of mine who watches the show regularly. In fact, you've probably eaten his bread. Louis Carangi from Carangi Bakery we used to hang a Red Sox flag. And I'm like, dude, we're Phillies, man. That's what it is. There's no American League team. You can't have an American League team. You have one team. You browse the other team. You can look around the other things. You could, have an affinity. You can't be a fan and you can't be buying merch and flags and stuff like that That's a violation, especially with Boston. Like, I respect Boston. I respect their fans. They are the closest things to us. It's Boston. It's the boroughs of New York, Queens, and the Bronx, and Long Island, and Staten Island that are close to us because they're regular people like we are. Nobody regular lives in Manhattan, right? So those New York sports fans are like us. So it's Boston, New York, and us. But Boston and Philadelphia have a kinship, an amazing kinship. And it goes back to being the two cities, right? I joke all the time, Puritans v. Quakers. And we just had this rivalry. I'll never forget when the Eagles played the Patriots in the Super Bowl in Jacksonville. We were in an RV. I was doing a show with Steve Monterano, and it was me, Steve, our producer, Bubba, Dave Breitmeyer, and we would have a couple of our and my friends, my cousin and my buddy Boo, Vinny, everybody. And we jump onto this into this RV, and our RV breaks down. And we're at a rest stop, and we're driving south, and who do we see in this like Cadillac of RVs, like this big, way bigger than ours, and it was all tricked out, but these Patriot fans from Boston, and it was like Boston, Philly, and we were just going at it head to head. And of course, they gave us help, and it was fun when we were drinking with them, and it shows our relation. We're kindred spirits because they love sports up there the way we love sports here. And so anytime a Philadelphia team plays Boston, it's great, especially in baseball. Red Sox, Phillies is a great rivalry. It was one of the proudest moments of my niece as a child, my niece Domenica. We were at the game, or she's at the game with her father, and she's Uncle Ant. People around me it was like I think it was the early, before the run of 07, 8, and through 11. And she's like, the whole stadium's filled with Red Sox fans. And I was arguing with people. I'm like, I love you, Domenica. That's right. We got to stand up for our own. Boston, it's happening. So any win over Boston is a great night. So we'll continue that. Also, that ballpark, Fenway, it's iconic. It's timeless. And it's interesting because last night at Lincoln Financial Field, the Rolling Stones played. And my man VG was there. And I want to get into this conversation today about timeless. And by all accounts, the Stones went wild. Friends of mine were there. The whole thing that's popping off, brought to you by Olipop. Get your get your favorite flavors of Olipop, the soda that's good for you, at your nearest Wawa. Good morning, JP, John Zapata.
What is this?
VG, Violations Greg.
Yo.
Timeless. Stones timeless?
Blown away. The coolest of the cool. So they just come out. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rolling Stones. And, they look great. They sounded great. You can only hope to be a tenth as cool as them when you're 80.
I know. You think about it, right? Like they're playing, what, 2.5 hours? 2.5
hours, killing it. They could have gone on for another 12. I was up till like 2 o'clock in the morning last night just being like, they didn't play this song, and they didn't play how they not play this song. And every song was a banger except they threw in 3 new ones from
that feeling.
Hackney Diamonds, the new album, which, they're fine. Luckily, they're like 2.5 minute songs, so they cruise by pretty quick. Nice little pee break.
Yeah, but like an epic, but we describe it, like, think about it, right? It's great that they're around. Because the fact that they're still around keeps that piece of it alive.
And it was good work by parents. They were like parents with their kids, and the kids were singing every word along with it. So it's nice.
That's cool.
Yeah. Stones will be around forever, like Beethoven.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yes.
They're just going to be around forever.
Yes.
They're in culture, pop culture, and commercials and movies and TV. I mean, they're just going to be around forever.
Well, we were talking about before. I was talking about Scorsese. Like, nobody makes like Scorsese films. He uses so much Rolling Stones, and it's like part of it. Like it adds to the vibe. They're so cinematic. Like I love music that can be storytelling, right? And that accent storytelling so much.
No, I agree with that. Like I do. I had that agreement with you because I feel like music not only can set the story up, but it can set the vibe up as well. And that's why I always use music too, to put me in a good mood, but also to set that mood or that vibe.
It is, and that Scorsese was one of the first to use known songs, people that knew, and the Stones were perfect for it.
Yeah, he's I feel like every Scorsese movie has a Stone song in it at this point. Yeah, and they're epic scenes.
Oh, yeah.
They're not just like background. It's an epic scene of the movie. It's like, oh, here come the Stones. Pay attention.
Well, there's in one of his first early films is Mean Streets, and there's a couple great scenes. You played one where Johnny Boy who's like his problem child that he loves, right? He's always in trouble. He's walking into the bar, and he's got two girls that he picked up at the festival. And he's like his albatross that he has to carry. And there's a great Stone songs playing as he just kind of walks into the bar, right? It's a cool smoke-filled 70s. It's grimy, and it just feels it.
Yeah, and I couldn't help. I'm watching it, and I'm like, who are the Stones of athletes and like Philadelphia sports and stuff? Who are our cool guys? Do we have any cool guys? Harry Callis was a cool guy, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
he was like
my
a Stones.
God. He was like this.
was.
That's a great one.
That voice. Oh,
That's a great one.
soothing.
I'll never forget. Like I'm making the thing because he was smoking.
Yeah,
And we were down in the bowels of Citizens Bank Park during the World Series of 08. It's pouring rain, and we're like down the bottom, like it's open, like the field. You can see the field, and so Harry would go smoke, right? So I would go see him, and we're talking, and he's pulling drag, and he's got the white shoes on, and the powder blue suit. Anthony, I still think we got. I'm like, because it was during. Remember, they kept playing through the rain, and the pop up. And who was it? Jimmy couldn't see the pop up. It landed, scored a run. It was like they didn't want the game to end with the Phillies and a rain-shortened World Series. So they were trying. They were praying Tampa would score. And so I remember being freaking out. Don't worry, Anthony. The fighting Phils are gonna win.
My God.
He's smoking, and it was just he was just cool.
He was always calm.
The epitome is those shoes. Like he doesn't. Cool guys don't care if it's in style, out of style. They like what they like, and they rock it, and
they rock it with pride.
Yes,
they just walk in like they're so untethered to opinion.
Yes,
right. Like to anybody's opinion, they don't care. Like Harry was this happy-go-lucky man.
Yes,
he was just he was cool in every sense of the word.
I'm happy he got to see CBP and World Series, that 08 one.
Yes. All right, speaking of the Phillies.
The Fightins.
JT.
JT.
That's a kick in the junk.
Yeah.
No belief in Stubbs? Stubbsy? What is it? Is it Stubbsy or Stubbs? Is it Stubby?
I think it's Stubbs.
Is it Stubby or Stubbsy?
Stubb. It's Stubbs.
No, they actually call him. They had it.
I know. It's Stubbsy. It's Stubbsy. I get it.
Stubbsy?
Yeah.
Are we concerned with JT out here with what we got?
Yes.
Yes,
I am concerned.
About the bat or handling the rotation?
Both. He's the best catcher in baseball.
No doubt about that.
Don't you think so?
Probably.
You give me that
that's for sure.
Like nonchalant. Like you're nonchalant. Like JT.
I mean, would I trade over the guy in
rock.
Baltimore right now? Yeah.
Oh, Rushman. Yeah.
Yes.
No, listen. He's ridiculous. He's young.
Yeah.
He's young, but he just came in. Like he's got incredible talent, and he bats second, and he's got pop. Right. He's left-handed. But as far as all-around catcher, I don't know about Royceman and what he is defensively.
Yeah.
I do know that JT is you can't run on him, and he handles the pitching staff.
Yeah. I have no problem. I mean, I'm just messing with you. I got no problem. I love JT.
Yeah, we got Stubbies.
But, I mean, can they survive 2 months? I mean, they're not going to make a move, right?
No.
So can they survive 2 months with these guys? Yeah, I think so.
No. Listen, are
they going to lose some ground, you think?
I'm concerned, not from a standpoint of how it would diminish the regular season, right? Like it's more of you had to deal with Trey, you had to deal with Marsh, now you got to deal with JT. It's just a cumulative. Now I don't know. I'm hoping that if this is not a rash type of thing, right? Yeah. And you just get through it. They'll have, put it this way, if they do break the Seattle record or even this, the Phillies team record, franchise record, I got news for you. They've earned it.
Yeah. That'd be really impressive.
I mean, they've earned it.
Yep.
Do you think, I'll be curious, Cy Young odds, do they get worse for the Phillies? Like, how does this affect the pitching staff and the odds of them?
I'm more concerned about the bat more than the defense, if I'm being honest.
I mean, that's a concern, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly we have 3 guys who were the leaders in Cy Young. They lose their catcher for 2 months.
There'll be a slight drop
No,
off.
I mean, that's all part of why I sit here going, why I'm worried, because of the way he does handle his staff, because of the way his defense behind the plate, the way he calls a game.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Like, I'll be honest with you. Yesterday I was like, man, it was like a kick in the gut. Like, again, it doesn't mean anything other than he'll be back long before the playoffs. That's all that matters, right? I get it. But still, like, he's going to be gone for every bit of 2 months.
I completely agree with the impact that JT Realmuto is for this team. But like gauging the fan base, a lot of people do feel that they should go out and get another catcher. And I think for the time being, I do agree. It might be closer to 2 months simply because of the position he plays in the field. But I don't think you have to go out and get another catcher. I think for right now, as far as the stopgap goes, I'm trusting subs. And, Marshawn, listen, the problem with him is injuries. I mean, the dude's got a solid bat. He's solid behind the plate as well as a catcher. But I don't think you need to go out and get another catcher.
You guys like Stubbs more than I do. Every day.
John Pierce in the chat. John Peace in the chat. Don't sleep on the 2015 Johnny Bench Award winner, best catcher in college baseball, Garrett Stubbs.
Oh, boy.
Listen, he's well liked. He's the clubhouse DJ.
That's really what it is. He's the clubhouse guy.
Every day.
I'll tell you whose fault this is. He's a friend of the show, and I'm not happy. Mr. Kevin Nagandi, about 4 weeks ago, was like, I got a real concern about the backup catcher position.
Oh, man.
Put it out in the universe.
Yes,
and now
we're going to find out.
I called him out as a violation for crapping on Stubbsy. And here we go. Nagandi. You got to get him on. It's all his fault.
Yeah, we got to talk about that one, Nagandi.
Wow, I forgot he did that.
Yeah, he did it right here.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah, that's no good.
No,
that's no good. No, I mean, listen. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is I think he's one of the more underrated Phillies.
Okay.
JT. Like, we talk about Bryce, we talk about Schwarber, right? Like, the one guy you never get, we talk, obviously, daycare, but JT, we don't talk a lot about, and I think he's a backbone of this squad.
He's consistently one of the best catchers. He's the catcher of the best pitching staff in MLB this season. I mean, for sure. I mean, we're about to find out as well the absence of how big that is for JT, or for the Phillies, I should say. But no, you're spot on, cuz.
He's a quiet cool. I look at him and I don't think he's cool, but he takes a beating back there.
Oh yeah,
and he's a little streaky hitting.
Oh yeah,
most of the time,
How about the other night, man? He took one right square and jumped, man.
Yeah, and then he took one like at the plate, play at the plate after taking one square on the jump.
I mean, my only point is I don't think we talk enough about him.
No, you're
take
right.
him for granted.
Yeah,
I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
One slightly frightening stat on Stubbsy, he hasn't played more than 3 games in a row. So is he going to be able to handle the
also
workload?
Small.
Is he going to be able to handle that workload?
Yeah, no, he's not. The answer is no.
The kid's not big either, right? Marshawn?
Marshawn.
No. Yeah, he's like 5'8", 5'9". Yeah. Where are they finding these tiny catchers at?
Chooch came up as a catcher.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, Chooch came up as a second baseman, got moved to catcher.
He was second baseman? Wow, that's a bulky second baseman.
Right, but he got moved. He came up as a second baseman, got moved to catcher. Yeah. But he wasn't. He was small, too.
He was slimmer back then.
Well, he was thick-legged, but he was short. He was small. Like we always talk about those 6'3", 6'2" catchers.
Yeah.
Was always like like that was the prototype.
Yeah,
like
the beating up Dalton or Boone.
Right. Like you wanted the big
Yes.
6'2" catcher. I mean, not the 5'7". I mean, what was shoots 5'7"?
Little league is like you would never put that little guy behind the plate,
Right.
Just he's someone that you hope the ball hits.
Right, you're always looking for that, that big dude. All right, cool is something we're going to get into a little bit later in the clubhouse because of the Stones last night and like just timeless cool right here in Philadelphia last night with the Rolling Stones. We'll get into that. We'll talk to Todd Zolecki, who I love, Todd. From MLB. He does a great job covering the Phillies, so we'll get deep into it. What the story is with JT. We'll talk to Todd about that. We will talk to Mike Garafolo. And I heard something today. I was listening to WIP, and guys Joe and John were talking, and John was talking about how and I was shocked that they should have fired Sirianni. And I was like,
preach.
I know you feel the same way. And I don't get that.
Who said that on that show?
John
Oh,
Richard.
okay, all right. Yeah, I'm good with John. Yeah, he's a smart guy.
But I honestly, I was like, wow, man, that's pretty strong.
I mean, the team from the outside, like the team just totally collapsed, and there was no answers.
Okay, so you're right. Like we talk about this real quick about the collapse. However, that doesn't mean you flush everything else down the drain that you did. Like you got to the playoffs in 1 year. You got to the Super Bowl in 2 years.
Yep.
And it was clear the coordinators were the problem too last year.
I mean, like you completely go away. They were also 10-1.
Yeah.
Like my point is that listen, he deserved the year no matter what. Whether Jalen loves him, doesn't like him, it's irrelevant to the conversation that he gets another year.
It's just irrelevant. Like epic collapse, and your quarterback's not happy with him.
By the way, to me, Jalen's not Mahomes. Like Jalen doesn't dictate who the coach is in my eyes.
Not there yet, at least.
No.
You don't think so?
Man,
No.
they got a lot of money committed
That you can get out of.
and I mean, you're acting like quarterbacks are just hanging around.
No, you're acting like he's Mahomes and he's not.
No, I think he's a top 10 quarterback. And I
He
think
might be
those guys
top 10, 15. I don't know where he is.
15.
I don't know where he is. Last year, put it this way, he was once a top 5 to 7. Last year,
last year, yeah.
He was probably around 10, 11. I mean, he did not, there was a lot of things that he did not do well last year. Now, if you want to bring up, coaching, and I agree, all that has to play in it. But he's not going to dictate my coach. Now, I need to fix him, and he's my quarterback, and he's my quarterback going forward, but he's not dictating who my coach is.
Yeah, I mean, both Nick and Jalen are going to be looked under a microscope. I think Nick's going to be looked harder under the microscope than Jalen.
Make no mistake, if this is a flop, Nick's out.
Yeah, no,
right?
100%.
That's
100%.
just what the Sirianni's out.
What's a flop? One and done in the playoffs?
I don't know. I mean, you
can't look like last
can say
year.
it when it happens.
All
I
right.
mean, there's a million different scenarios where this whole thing could play
You
out.
can't have collapses. You can't have players looking like they're giving up on the team. Like that type of stuff can't happen again.
There's a million things that can happen, but I think we all understand that if this season turns out to be a flop,
Yeah,
he's out.
100%.
Right?
Yep.
But I thought he deserved this year to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Judging what he did, like you completely discount. Like you get to the Super Bowl year 2. You can't tell me that was all Steichen.
He's got a winning record too.
It's a combination of Steichen. It was a cake schedule. Who'd they play in the playoffs to get to the Super Bowl? I mean, and once you get there, you got a fighter's chance.
Fighter's chance. They should have won the game.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
All right.
But
Well,
they didn't. They got rid of a Super Bowl winning coach, a year and a half after he won a Super Bowl? I mean, this is the Eagles we're talking about. They cut people loose.
Yeah, and again, but I'm talking about you.
Yeah.
You just say
Cut him loose.
He should have been gone this year.
Yeah. That collapse and the way there was no fight, no answers, switching up your defensive coordinators, it was just chaos. It was like Bush League and amateurs, it seemed to me.
Well, again, that's something we've seen before when you lose the coordinators. I just think he deserved another, by what he accomplished over the first 2 years of his career and the first 11 games of year 3. I think that you got to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I agree with you
for 1 year.
Yeah, I agree with you, VG, for a certain extent that I do think that he deserves a little bit of responsibility for that collapse because that's unacceptable. But I do think that the coordinators were the bigger problem than Nick Sirianni. I think Brian Johnson
it all falls
Patricia
under
was
him.
terrible.
You're right. The coordinators were awful. It all falls under his, like he's got to answer for it,
Yeah,
right? Like
he's the head guy.
There were his choices for coordinators, so he's got to answer for it. And what he disappointed me in that he didn't take over the offense and the play calling.
Yeah.
Like once you see that as being the issue, forget about the defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the defense issue personnel wise, like whatever you felt about the defense, the offense was the biggest problem. The offense looked clueless.
Yeah, with all those weapons, it should not have looked that inept at the end of the season.
I mean, we've seen him calling plays when he first got here. He wasn't great. We wanted him not to call plays. You know what I mean?
pass,
We forget that?
pass.
No.
Then we had another factor. Like you have players just changing the plays at the line of scrimmage. And it's not just an audible. They're just regarding the plays that are being called. I mean, it was just total chaos with the team.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm disappointed he didn't take over the offense. And that includes the play calling. Whatever happened in his first, 8 weeks of his tenure when he gave up the play calling, maybe I applauded it. Not that he was a terrible play caller and that I thought he needed to preside over the team. Like you need to be the CEO.
I also think the talk, you have to put it in context. You had an offseason where there were 3 really viable, good alternatives to just getting rid of Sirianni. It wasn't like, we're getting rid of Sirianni. You had Super Bowl winning caliber coaches out there. You had Vrabel out there. There were options that seemed
by the
more
way, are
credible.
still out there.
Yeah, well, doesn't mean it's the right choice. We'll see.
Well, it doesn't mean that was the choice. Nobody else went there. So my point is that there's always coaching candidates that are available.
Not like this.
I mean, not Belichick. Belichick's unique, and if you want to go Belichick, he's unique.
But
there's always you got to go in-house first, and you got to see where you're at. I didn't think he deserved to be booted.
My thing too, when we're going through this discussion during the offseason was too, is like I don't want us to as well hit like when crap hits the fan for us to hit the panic button and start firing coaches because like when crap started hitting the fan with Doug, we let him go. I don't want the same thing happen to Nick Sirianni. I don't want it to continue with that cycle as well. So that was kind of my thing as well. Nick Sirianni, yes, that collapse was unacceptable, but I wanted to give him that next season with the right coordinators, and we'll see what happens here. We're going to find out a lot about this team, especially under Nick Sirianni.
I mean, do we think
do me a favor. Let's table this for 1 second.
You got it.
Which is a great conversation, and I really want to get back to it.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. But we got a couple things I want to talk to you about. Sleep Healthy PA. It's Dr. Andy Cohen. Dr. Andy wants to stop the snore. That's right. Sleep apnea, a major issue. It can hurt your everything, your health. Most importantly, when you're not getting that full REM sleep that you need, it just does a number on your body. Every which way. You got to be able to sleep well. And this is where Dr. Andy comes in. And look, the CPAP machine, who wants to wear that? It's a big contraption. You look like a spaceman, right? An underwater person. Like it's just insane. A diver. It's uncomfortable. With Dr. Andy, you could ditch the CPAP. He's a dentist by trade, and he stumbled on a cure for snoring. A dear friend of his had cancer. He was staying with him, and he realized he was snoring, and he was keeping his buddy up, and he felt bad. So he devised a dental contraption to help make him breathe and open up his passageways. And from there, it was born. He uses laser therapy. He uses dental appliances, and he could stop your snore. All right? Do yourself a favor. See Dr. Andy Cohen. All right? sleephealthypa.com, sleephealthypa.com, and stop the snore, JP.
I love it, cuz. All right, listen, sleep health is extremely important. You know what else is important? Is the health of your eyeballs, ladies and gentlemen. And we are in summertime right now. And listen, sunglasses are extremely important for protecting your eyes. And you want to make sure you have the right brand to protect those eyeballs. And that's why I want to talk to you about our friends over at Shady Rays, ladies and gentlemen. You guys know me. I love my sunglasses. I have a weird obsession with my sunglass collection at home. And now Shady Rays has added to it. And I love it because you know why? Some of the other sunglasses companies that I purchase through, they're great. But Shady Rays provides the quality, but you're not going to break the bank with some of these sunglasses, all right? We're talking high-quality sunglasses at an affordable price, and that's what Shady Rays provides to you. The best part about it as well, we've all been there, right? You lose your sunglasses, you drop them in the water, whatever it may be. Shady Rays, what they'll do for you is they will replace those pair of sunglasses for free. Nobody's doing this here, ladies and gentlemen, but they'll just take it from me. Take it from over the 300,000 people that have rated Shady Rays with 5 stars, guys. That's over 300,000 people. They also agree Shady Rays is a fantastic product. And of course, as always, we got you guys hooked up with that promo code. If you go right now, purchase your first set of glasses with Shady Rays, use that promo code PHLY. That'll get you 35% off your polarized sunglasses here today. Again, promo code PHLY. 35% off your polarized sunglasses. So this summer, guys, stay styling with Shady Rays. And thank you to our friends over at Shady Rays, cuz.
All right, thanks, JP. This portion of the program brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. The big story, JT Realmuto out, surgery, and talk about it. There's certain people in the business that you just automatically love from day one. I just thought this guy has done such a great job. He's a great baseball guy. And a dear friend, Todd Zolecki, joins us. Todd, what's up, brother?
Man, what's up, dude? How are you? Long time.
I know, man. It's so great. I'm so excited. It was funny. You and I, we hit off like from the years ago. I mean, I don't know how long now it's been, but like right from the beginning, it was always like, oh, I love this guy.
Yeah, it's awesome. I actually stumbled on Facebook gives you these. We did a show years ago at the Tiki Bar in Clearwater, and that picture popped up during spring training. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't have gray hair or nothing back then, you know? I looked like I had my whole life ahead of me. Yeah,
exactly, buddy. Tell me about it. Oh my God, we had some great times. I love it, and I'm thrilled to be doing this. So this way, I get to talk to you. You kill it. You slay it. You're a great baseball man. JT's a little bit of a kick in the groin.
Yeah, it is. It is. You know, it's funny though. So yesterday when they made that announcement, I started immediately researching like, okay, how long when these guys have these meniscus repairs, how long are they out? And I saw everything from 4 weeks to 8 weeks, sometimes even a little bit longer. You know, Rhys Hoskins had it in the offseason a couple years ago. He's ready to go by spring training. Some other players have had it. Your Christian Pache missed about 6 weeks so last year. And so when Dave Dombrowski came out yesterday in Boston, said we only expect him to miss about a month, I was like, wow, only a month. That's kind of best case scenario. And so in a sense, it's going to suck for sure not to have JT. But if they really think he'll only miss a month and he will be better for it, and I have no reason not to believe that, it could be a blessing in disguise. If you can get a healthier JT with the lead that they have right now in the division, you get him healthy for the stretch run. You mitigate the risk of him needing this on September 16th.
Yes.
It blows out. Or it's September 16th, September 23rd. It's so bad that he just can't play on it. Now you're screwed for the postseason. So in a way, I look at it almost as a blessing in disguise.
You know what? You're right. Especially when you put it like that, Todd, that this thing could have happened, and you're looking at September, and there's no room. It shocked me too. A month, right? Like I'm thinking to myself, he's a catcher. It's not like he's a catcher who's in that position. So I was shocked by only a month.
I was absolutely surprised as well when they said that because he does take such a beating. So you wonder if it's how bad it was. It must not be as bad of a tear, I guess. I don't know. I'm not the doctor, but
Yeah.
4 weeks for a catcher, that is pretty wild. Because again, I went back and I looked at other catchers that have had this surgery. You know, AJ Ellis, former Dodgers catcher, several years ago, he missed about 6 weeks, 7 weeks, something along those lines. So 4 weeks for JT. It just kind of shows you, Ant, that like he is the toughest dude on that team, and he is such a tremendous athlete. You know, he comes from that wrestling lineage in Oklahoma. He is, you know, he can run, he can hit, he can throw. He's got the pop time, he's got the throwing arm. He is such a physical specimen. So in a sense, I guess it doesn't necessarily even surprise me that it's 4 weeks, because if anybody's going to be out 4 weeks, it's going to be JT Realmuto.
Yeah, you're spot on. And it's sometimes, and I was talking with the guys here, we take him for granted. He, you know, obviously Bryce is the star and Schwarber is the clubhouse leader, and truly the rock, and you're around him more than anybody, is JT. He's the rock of this thing.
Yeah, they call him the backbone all the time, and there's so much respect in there for him because they do see him take, foul balls off the mask and, long follow throughs on the swing, hit him in the back of the helmet, collisions at the plate, even though there aren't as many of those these days. But the players in there have so much respect for him because they see how much of a pounding he takes, and they know how hard of a job it is. And he's caught by far the most innings in Major League Baseball the past 2+ seasons. It's like not even close when you consider the postseason as well. So this guy is a stud. And you look down the road, if he can stay healthy and stay productive, you're looking at maybe like a borderline Hall of Fame type player. Yeah. And those guys in there, they respect the heck out of him.
So what's the answer? So can Stubbs, can he handle? How much of the load can he handle?
Yeah, so it sounds like they are going to try to share time or split time with Stubbs and Rafael Marchand. They've always liked Marchand. They've always thought he was a good defensive catcher, that he can call a really good game. The thing with him is that he's just always hurt. He gets hurt all the time. So I think if we're only talking a month, if it really truly is only going to be a month for JT, I think that they feel they can survive a month with Stubbs and Marchand, some combination of it. Stubbs, he threw a runner last night at second base on a great throw. He's had some struggles behind the plate defensively with some pass balls and some wild pitches, but he does put in a lot of time. I can tell you, he does put in a lot of time working with the pitchers, learning the pitchers, trying to game plan with the pitchers. Zack Wheeler didn't really seem to miss a beat last night with him behind the plate. So if it was any longer than that, you wonder if they would go out and try to look for, maybe an upgrade at to help out with Stubbs. But I do think this injury kind of reinforces the idea. I do think they need to find at least some AAA catching depth, because now if one of those two guys goes down, now they're really in trouble, because their AAA catching depth is not very good. They have Aramis Garcia, who really played well in spring training, but he's really, really struggled in AAA. I think I was just looking at, he's batting 164 with a 501 OPS, not great. So maybe they look for some AAA catching depth.
Put it this way, if they somehow they break the franchise record, forget about Seattle, but they'll have earned it. I mean, Trey, right? He feels like he's been out, much of the year. Obviously got off to a decent start, and then boom, he was gone. Marsh, I mean, they've gotten hit left and right.
They have gotten hit left and right, and that really, to me, tells you how great their starting pitching is. And remember like 2011, you had Halladay, Hamels, Lee, Oswalt, Vance Worley had a great rookie year that year. This rotation is just as solid, if right up there with those guys in terms of dominance with Wheeler, Suarez, Nola, Sanchez, and Walker's kind of is what he is right now. But he is a number 5 starter, and he gives you 5 innings at least. So it really just kind of tells you how great this starting pitching has been, and that they have not missed a beat with the injuries that you just mentioned.
The other day, Jeff Passan they were talking about outfield, possibilities, a big name, right? He brought up Kyle Tucker, which I was shocked at why the Astros would want to move their best player. I mean, him and Alvarez. Why in the world would you want to break that up? But then he brought up Robert, and he brought up Arozarena, those big names. Do you see anything like that?
I think it's possible because I think Dave and John Middleton understand that there's a limited window, so to speak, with this core of players, and you're playing great. You're the best team in baseball. You got this great pitching staff. So if there is a way to make a big splash, I don't think Dave's going to be shy about doing it. But if you can get Castellanos going, and I know he got off to the most brutal start you could possibly get off on, but over the past month, he's actually performed pretty well. Entering yesterday's game, I'd have to check this morning. Entering yesterday's game, in the last 30 games, he was like top third in baseball in OPS. Just a 1 month window, but it indicates his return to maybe what he could normally do. Now, if Nick Castellanos can do what he normally can do, if Brandon Marsh comes back and is healthy, it kind of, you don't really have that need necessarily to go out and get that superstar player, but Dave will do it. The other thing that I think complicates it is that they don't have a incredibly deep farm system. You're going to see Aiden Miller's name thrown around. He was their first round draft pick last year. I would be absolutely stunned if they traded him unless you could get I'm talking a superstar player with some team control in there. I personally would be surprised if Dave Dombrowski, for instance, traded Aiden Miller in a package to get Luis Robert. I would not do that. I think this guy is going to be a stud. Same thing with Andrew Painter. So I never put anything past Dave, but if you can get Castellanos going, you can get Marsh back. Hey, Edmundo Sosa maybe sees some time in left field.
No, wow.
He maybe sees some time in left field when Trey comes back. So if you could get those outfielders to produce a little bit more, now you can maybe focus on, do we get another late inning guy? Do we do something like that? And you know what? You never know what else might pop up before now in July.
Are you worried about the listen, you can always use an arm in the bullpen, but are you concerned? I mean, obviously, Soto's a disappointment. Sir Anthony, you don't know about. Like, he's hard to count on. I mean, other than that, I love, Alvarado. I love the rest of that pen. But those two spots are a little, are you worried about it?
I don't know if I'm worried about it, but I do think that there's always a need to upgrade your bullpen. So, like, for example, if they would find a late inning arm that could help, now you're talking about somebody that would replace Jose Ruiz in the bullpen. I would definitely do that because there's going to be times in the postseason where you're running through guys, and man, it would be nice to have one other big arm in there in the bullpen that could get out a big out, in the NLDS or NLCS or World Series. So I would be absolutely open to it, not worried about it, but I do see a need there. And to me, when you can address the bullpen, is probably one of the easier spots to address. At the trade line. Now you're going to see, I know a lot of people want like Mason Miller from the A's.
That'd be fantastic.
And I've seen some names like, if you give up Miller and you give up Mick Abel and you give up Justin, I'm like, no, I personally, again, would not do that. I don't think the need is that great. And that price is way too steep to get somebody like that.
Yeah, we were looking at dreaming Rooker and Miller, right? If you got Rooker
Miller
from the A's.
Oh, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. Now, what that would cost, I don't know.
Yes.
But Aiden Miller, Andrew Painter, I wouldn't even, again, unless you're getting I'm talking an everyday superstar player with some team control, I'm holding on to at least those two guys.
Yeah. No, I completely feel you. Hey, Todd Zolecki, MLB.com, and he does such an amazing job covering his team. You've covered baseball and the Phillies for a long time. You can give me perspective, right? This season at Citizens Bank Park, it feels like the spring, summer of love. Like,
it does.
I mean, baseball's not consumed this way. I've had this conversation. I know in 08, 09, and 10, 11, it was special, it was fun, but not like this. It's even different, right? What we saw in England, in London, this is different. And baseball around the major leagues isn't consumed like we're consuming it.
Yeah, I agree. It does have a different feel, even from those glory years with Utley and Hamels and Rollins and Howard. And I wonder if it's because, they're just blowing everybody away right now. I think some of it has to do with this team is just very likable. They're not afraid to express their personalities and show their personalities. I mean, you have Bryce Harper mic'd up Anytime the game is on national TV, or you have Brandon Marsh, listing his rock band teammates, or bandmates, it's a very likable team. London was insane. I mean, it was so much fun. I think Rob Thompson said it best. He's like, if I could come back every year and do this, I absolutely would. The Phillies fans showed out. They show out everywhere on the road. And I just think that the fact that they're winning at such a ridiculous clip with such great starting pitching, it's really easy to see this team in the World Series. They have a long way to go to get there, and they have to kind of get a little lucky in the postseason. But it's such a fun team to watch because, right now we're talking about what do they get the trade deadline? Because there's not like a clear cut answer.
Right.
You could go out and get an outfielder. Sure. Yeah. You can upgrade an outfield. But if they don't, it's not the end of the world. You could go out and get a bullpen arm, but if it's not the end of the world. Whereas like those other teams, they had some big holes. You had some major concerns, some real concerns. Like in 2011, it was like, I don't know if they have the offense. So they had to go out and get Hunter Pence. The years before, it was like, I don't know if they have the starting pitching. So they had to go out and get Roy Oswalt and Cliff Lee. Right now, if the trade deadline came and went and they made a very minor move, you'd say, I still like their chances of going and win the World Series. And I think fans have really bought into that.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I got to ask you a question. Your background, are they individual cards or is it a wallpaper?
Yeah. No, this is individual cards. So we had our third child a little over a year ago. And so my office upstairs with windows with a lot of nice natural light became the third kids room. And so I got bumped out into this random room in this basement, this small space in the basement. It has like the old school wood paneling, right? And I said, gosh, if I have to be down here all the time, I can't look at this wood paneling, And so I had all my baseball cards when I was a kid. I'm 48, so I grew up in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
And these were the cards that were going to put me through college, that were going to make me a millionaire. And it turns out they printed about 8 million sets per year. And so they're completely worthless. So I decided I literally spent not an off season. I spent like one long weekend, one year, maybe a year and a half ago. And I just glued them all to the wall. So
It's awesome.
these are all, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. And it's fun to look back, and I kind of set it up where, I have a lot of former Phillies that people that I know in baseball I've come across, like I have a lot of Larry Anderson cards with him with the Phillies and the Astros behind me, Larry Boa with the Cubs, guys I've worked with at MLB Network, like Harold Reynolds and Al Leiter and Ron Darling. And it's just some players that I randomly liked when I was a kid. Jeffrey Leonard with the Giants. I loved when he would run with the one arm down,
Wasn't
the
he
flap
from
down.
Philadelphia? I think he was from
I
Philadelphia.
think he was. Yeah, I think he
Yes.
might have been. Yeah, he played with the Brewers for a year. So I kind of
I was
like
a big Jeff Leonard fan.
Yeah, I strategically placed some of these cards. And then on the other wall here is a bunch of Phillies cards from like since I started covering the team. So you have like random guys like Steven Sustorf, who had like a cup of coffee with the Phillies. Filippo Mont is back there.
Wow.
Then I have guys that I loved covering.
That's
Real
bust out.
Cormier and yeah, exactly. So it was something that when I'm down here and now I'm not like. I feel like I'm so confined. It's it feels a little bit more alive. It keeps my sanity going.
Dude, I gotta tell you, I love it. That's freaking
Thanks.
Brilliant, man.
It was cool. Yeah, it was
Tell
fun
me about
to
the
do.
podcast. You, Ruben, and Jim, which is awesome.
Thank you.
I love it. I think it's just great baseball.
Yeah, it's the Phillies show with Ruben Amaro, Jim Salisbury, and I, and just three of us get together and talk baseball, of course. And we've been fortunate enough to get some really good guests. We had Bryce Harper on last week going into London, and that interview was just amazing. We had Chase Utley on the week before that. We've had Pat Burrell on. So every once in a while we'll throw a guest in there, and all three of those guys seem to enjoy it. I talked to Chase in London over the weekend, and I said, "Hey man, I just want to thanks for coming on the show again." He's like, "I listened to it. Actually, I enjoyed it." So tell a lot of good stories from Chase, a lot of good stories from Bryce. If you haven't listened to those, check those out. I mean, just it's funny because I'm a dad. I have some kids that are like in T-ball and Little League, and I asked Bryce some hitting questions to give for parents and stuff, and it was great. It's fun. It's fun talking to those guys, and we have a blast.
I absolutely love it. And there is not how old are. So I have an 11U player. So
Okay.
Massimo is. In fact, we just started districts of the All Stars.
Oh, nice.
So we're
my son is 8, and I have a daughter who's 5, so she just did finished her first year of T-ball.
Oh, that's
it's
awesome.
fun. It's fun. But it was funny. I don't talking to Ryan Howard in London over the weekend. He was telling me how he's coaching his daughter's 8-year-old softball team, and he was saying, it's like, man, a lot of these dads, man, they're pretty intense. They kind of get on the other team, they kind of get fired up, and it's like a little bit, just like you're trying to develop these kids. And I told him a similar story last year with my son. Some hitting tips he was getting. And I said, what coach was yelling at him to hit the lower half of the baseball, and I'm like hitting off the machine for the first time. And I said, how about kid, have my son make some contact, get him to make contact. So Ryan Howard breaks out a hitting drill for me. He gives me a little hitting drill for my son and my daughter. He's like, here's the way I want you to do it. He broke it down for me. It was great. It was fun.
It's the greatest. And you're right. Like we try to throw so much at them, and better than it. Baseball nuance that's got to come with age. Like you right. need to see ball, hit ball. Like Charlie would always say. Like I brought Charlie to one of the Little League games. Like to one of our games. The kids went nuts, and it was don't complicate it for them. It's bad enough. Like baseball is such a head game, right? The last thing you want is put a kid in a head game situation.
Exactly. The best advice I got was from everybody from Jim Salisbury. We got this from John Vukovic, Larry Boa, Kevin Long, the hitting coach for a little kid. I said, just what would be your best advice? They said, put your bat on your back shoulder, put it up to your ear. And Kevin Long said, have him spread out in an athletic stance, no stride, no leg kick, no nothing. And just have him get, swing to the ball. And like that, you just want them at that age just to make contact and feel good about themselves, so they want to come out the next season.
Yes.
You're not doing a crazy leg kick. You're not doing this like Bryce Harper. They're not Bryce Harper. They're 8 years old. They're 7 years old. Just let them hit the ball at that age and have some fun. It was cool. It was cool. Yeah.
It's the best. By the way, dude, I'm a couple of years ahead of you in that sense. It gets better. It's so much fun. Last night, we had 2 practices. He had his district and then his travel team. And so he practiced at 5:30 to 7:30 and then 8 to 9:30, right? So I'm with him, right? So I'm with him the whole time. I'm watching the Phillies game on my phone. I'm standing behind the cage, right? And it's the greatest, right? And afterwards, Daddy, can we get a Wendy's? I'm like, yeah. Of course, right? But it's the bond that you have with your child with this stuff is the greatest. So God bless you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Really. Happy Father's Day, brother.
Hey, thanks. You too, man. Thanks, and good talking to you.
Yeah, without a doubt. Definitely. We'll keep this going, man. You're the best, brother. I love you.
Thanks, Ann. I appreciate that, man.
Thanks,
You're awesome.
Todd. Todd Zolecki, MLB.com. What an incredible job he does. Always love chatting it up with Todd. And by the way, Greg, good eye on the cards. I love that stuff.
People want to know. It's been every time he's on, the chat room blows up. Want to know what's going on behind
Jeffrey Leonard. How great is that? In fact, Tony the ref went to Overbrook. His aunt went to school with Jeffrey Leonard. How about that?
Oh, man.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
He went to Overbrook, Jeffrey Leonard. I loved him. He was one of my players. All right,
dude. Breaking news: logo died. Man. Jerry West.
Passed away.
Oh, did he
passed
really?
Away
this morning at 86.
Yeah. The logo. Wow. Jerry West. He was incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible basketball man. Incredible basketball mind.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a shame. R.I.P. Jerry West. All right. Joining us now, it's the Brain.
Brain. Red, the Brain Finder.
Yes, there he is, the Brain, brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app in the great Parks Casino, Ben Salem. Hello, Brain. Hey, we just gave you a name from the past, Jeffrey Leonard. You remember Jeffrey Leonard?
So I heard that. San Francisco Giants, Philly guy. Yeah, of course. I love it. I love it. Of course.
I love those
I
things.
remember him very, very
Did
well.
you
Had a
have?
great career.
Do you have all your baseball cards as a kid? We're lost.
It's funny. I'll never forget it as long as I live. Can you hear me, Anthony?
Yeah, you're frozen, but
Anthony, can you hear? Hang on 1 second. Give me
yeah,
1 second.
Really, it's
Give me
more
1
your
second.
connection.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah,
Give
it's
me 1
more your.
second.
Yeah, it's all right. It's more your connection.
Which remote island is he on today?
He's in St. Bart's.
Bart's.
Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
redo
no,
it.
my mom. I see.
Yeah,
I'm frozen.
let's Andrew. Let's get him reconfigured because obviously that link is not working. He's in St. Bart's.
Is he St. Bart's?
Yeah,
Who knows?
I mean,
He's
St.
an
Bart's.
island hopper. He's
He
always
is.
got those travel books behind him. Who knows where
I
what
mean,
destination he's going to these days?
Listen, I know he had Wheeler yesterday to win.
Yeah.
He didn't hit the strikeout prop, but I know he had to win. And
Well, I was talking to Papa VG the other day. He doesn't know how to bet sports. He watches the show every now and then. I was like, whatever Brad tells you to bet, just bet it. He's like, you're going to be ahead at the end. You don't even think about it.
it's the truth.
Yeah, he'll be up.
He'll be up.
Because he loves to play the penny slots. They're hard to win on. Get Brad to give you some penny slot money. You go to Bet Parks Casino and hit the penny slots. There you go.
That's actually
Papa VJ.
Yeah, give him some
genius
play money from Brad.
for Papa VG.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Bet Parks brings us Brad. We got him back. Let's try to get it. All right, Brad. Brain. Here we go.
Hopefully this is better.
Yes, this is better. Very good.
All right, buddy. Yeah, my mom threw away my baseball cards. I'll never forget. I had in this huge box all my baseball cards. One day they were gone. I was probably the biggest fight me and my mom ever got into. She's like, it was taking up too much space. I remember it, man. But yeah, Jeffrey Leonard was a great
my
player.
mother threw mine out too. Not
No
all
way.
of them. A huge box.
She threw all mine.
A
Yeah,
huge box. She threw them out.
I was
and I went
devastated.
nuts. Same thing.
I was so upset. I was like, oh my God, how can you do this? But whatever, it happened. And yeah, sad day in my childhood for sure.
I know. Brother, I feel you. All right, let's. I know we're kind of up against it, and you're in St. Bart's, and I don't want to ruin your vacation. Tonight, how you playing this game 3, Dallas Celtics?
Anthony, look, I'm going to guess from what I've read and just what they've making the lines and some of the props that we're not going to see Porzingis. That is my guess.
Yeah.
At least as of today, at this moment, I can only go by the information I have at this second. I think there's a better chance than not Porzingis is not going to be playing. Now, only way I can look here, Anthony, again, I don't think I'm being stubborn, but again, I think Porzingis has been a huge part of why Boston has looked better.
I agree.
All in game. I'm going to take Dallas. I think what are they 2.5 right now in Parks, Anthony? In that vicinity, I think. I'm going to go Dallas here. I think Dallas wins the game. I think they keep the series alive, and I think Porzingis is a huge reason as to why Boston has looked better in these games. And I'll give you a prop I like in the game, Anthony. I like Drew Holiday under 6.5 rebounds. It's interesting. He actually averages a rebound more per game. Listen to this. When Porzingis doesn't play, his rebounds go down by 1 a game. People think that his rebounds maybe will be more, but actually Horford, his rebound is better than Porzingis this year. So Holiday has only averaged about 4.5 rebounds a game this year. When Porzingis has missed time, they made it 6.5. I think that's too aggressive, Anthony. 6.5. I would have made it 5.5. I like Drew Holiday under 6.5 rebounds, my friend, on the Parks website.
Yeah, I'd like to come. He had 11 the other night, so.
Yeah, I know. Look, yeah, exactly. And you're getting a recency bias on that, my friend. It's hard to get 7 rebounds if you're a guard, unless you're Russell Westbrook back in the day. Not many guards are getting 7 rebounds a game. I mean, it's such a small list. I don't know if there's anyone in today's NBA, any guard, who's getting 7 rebounds a game. I'm going to take my chances. Drew does not get a 7. He'd have a great game.
I'm with you too. I like that. I like Dallas tonight. I do.
Yep, I'm with you.
Anything with the U.S. Open?
Obviously, Rahm is out, which I felt bad on. Listen, it's so hard right now to fade Scheffler, Anthony, the way he's playing. It's just he's playing at such a phenomenal, dare I say, Tiger Woods level. It's really hard. The one thing I will say, the U.S. Open to me is I always thought the hardest tournament to win if you were a good player, because it's such a big field, it's such a hard test of your mettle and whatnot. So I couldn't take him getting such short odds, but I usually like to see after round 2, Anthony, and maybe take a guy that's maybe 4 shots back getting big odds, because things can change so quickly at the U.S. Open. I think the golf fields, Anthony, today are deeper than they've ever been. I mean that. I think there's more golfers that can win today than there've ever been. Ever. I mean, I think there's so many guys. Look, Morikawa's been playing really well in the majors.
Yeah.
Brooks Koepka always plays well in these majors, Anthony. And again, but Scottie Scheffler should be the favorite, and he is. And obviously Rory has been playing well. So I think it's going to be an exciting tournament. I don't see any value in terms of winning the tournament. No, I do not.
Did you see the greens? Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean,
somebody showed you how fast the greens were. They dropped the ball.
Phenomenal.
And
phenomenal.
it just went and got faster and faster until it rolled off the green. They are fast.
I love the U.S. Open.
So do I. The
I don't
U.S.
like
Open is
I
the
don't
best.
like birdie fast, Anthony. I don't like birdie. Like, I know, you know me, I like rooting against human achievement. I don't like birdies. I like it when these guys look like me out there.
No, I do too. I don't like big scores. I like
-20s.
against testing the elements, right? Like,
yes, yeah. Like the U.S.
I
Open
agree.
usually pick even odds or even par or -1, +1 wins it. I love that. I don't like -20 winning the tournament. I just don't see any enjoyment of watching a guy go -20. I'd rather see the test of the elements, like you said,
I agree.
Which is why the U.S. Open is usually my favorite tournament of all the tournaments.
Yeah, me too. I'm completely with you. All right, Big Brain, Brad'sBestBets.com, Brad'sBestBets.com, at Brad's Best Bets on Twitter. Any baseball? You have any plays for us?
Give you a couple quick things that I know you're up against it. Braxton Garrett, Miami Marlins, over 4.5 strikeouts. Look, you're getting +110. Now, 3-2 this year. Okay. 31-22 his last 3 years starting. So it's been a legitimate bet that's winning close to about 58% of the time. You're getting +110 the last month. The Mets have been an average team in striking out. I think it's at least a 50-50 bet. You want to give me +110? I'm taking it. And then Aaron Savale, Tampa Bay Rays. I'm going to go under 5.5 strikeouts, Anthony. This guy doesn't go a lot of innings a lot of times. Last 3 years starting, 37-19 to the under, 8-5 this year. Again, a lot of ways to win this. A lot of times it just doesn't last long. I would have made this close to 4.5. So I like Savale under 5.5 Tampa Bay and Braxton Garrett over 4.5 on the Marlins.
Sounds good, buddy. Good stuff. The Brain, always pleasure.
man.
Enjoy St. Bart's, brother.
All right, be good.
Don't forget The Brain, brought to us by Bet Parks. Bet Parks on Wednesday. Fightings tonight. Christopher Sanchez against Pivetta. Second game of the series. You can live bet the game while you watch. Check out Bet Parks, the combo bets. Like if you want the Fightings to win and then over 8.5 runs, $25 brings back $52.50. $25 on the Fightings outright with an under 8.5 gives you $125 if that combo hits. Bet the first 3 innings, the first 5 innings, the whole game. Bet more than just a score. Player performances, hits, home runs, strikeouts, you name it. Bet your favorite sports on the Bet Parks Plus. Play with live dealers, live baccarat, live roulette, several different live blackjack games. All right, right there on your phone with the Bet Parks online casino and sportsbook app. Hundreds of exciting online slots like Slingo, Fire and Ice, Fantastic Fireworks, Lucky Cherry. All the action and excitement from the casino right at your fingertips. Safe, simple, easy to use. The only app I'll recommend. Odds, bets, slots, games right in your pocket. And a great offer for new users. You download the Bet Parks online casino sportsbook app right now. Get up to $1,000 bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. BetParks.com is all the details. Got to be 21 in New Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. JP?
Let's talk now about our friends over at Rite Aid, guys. Listen, it's allergy season. We know our cuz right now is suffering through those allergies too. So we want to recommend, guys, our pharmacy services with Rite Aid, guys, all right? And this is what Rite Aid can provide to you here. With a My Pharmacy account at Rite Aid, you can refill your prescriptions, schedule a vaccine, get personalized care recommendation, and sign up for prescription notifications. All you need to get started is a prescription at Rite Aid. Get started at riteaid.com/mypharmacy. You can also stop stressing about prescriptions. Let Rite Aid refill them automatically. Enroll in automated courtesy refills. It's free, easy, and most prescriptions qualify. Talk with your Rite Aid pharmacist or sign up through your My Pharmacy account at riteaid.com. Restrictions may apply. Also, get your prescriptions at the same time with one-trip refills. Ask your pharmacist to sync your medication so you can pick them up with one visit. You can sync with other family members as well. Just ask your local Rite Aid pharmacist to get started. Restrictions, again, may apply. Manage your prescriptions with the Rite Aid mobile app. Transfer or refill your prescriptions. Set up your medication reminders. Enroll prescription notifications. And download from the Apple App Store or Google Play. Transfer your prescriptions to Rite Aid today. Just go to riteaid.com/transfer. Rite Aid caring pharmacists are ready to answer your questions and help you stay healthy. Get your prescriptions along with anything at Rite Aid you may need, including over-the-counter medicine, household products, cosmetics, and much more. Just ask your pharmacy team for details. Restrictions do apply. So, guys, if you need your prescriptions or anything you may need around the house, Rite Aid is your one-stop shop. And thank you to our friends over at Rite Aid, cuz.
Thanks, JP. Now, as we approach the 10 o'clock hour, one of the hometown heroes we always talk about, who's done so much good work, so proud of his ascent into the big time from the NFL Network, South Philadelphia's own, the great Mike Garafolo. Mikey G, what's up, brother?
Is this my first time on the show? I think this is my first time on the show.
It is first of many, and I got to tell you, you're just killing it. You have become a mainstay on the biggest sport in America. So I couldn't be more proud of you, brother.
Well, listen, way back I was covering all four. I was covering college as well, and I think we've had conversations about, what's the best sport to cover, what's the one that suits my lifestyle and my interests and everything like that. I think I gravitated toward football, and I think the popularity of football since then, the NFL, which was 2002 to 4, I guess, when we had those conversations, has absolutely erupted. So, Indiana Jones, I chose wisely.
You did. I remember distinctly. We were probably in the parking lot around the corner from this studio. This studio's near 10th and Spring Garden, right? So,
oh, really? All right.
Yeah, right off of 5th and Spring Garden. And I remember you and I sitting there, and I remember talking about, you're like, dude, I don't know, what should I do? What should I take? Should I take the Giants? You were doing everything, and you love football. You're like, listen, football's the best beat to cover. And it is, because you can have a bit of a life. I covered, baseball and basketball, and you're just traveling all the time. It's too much, and football is the greatest of the beat life.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and I think it was also, what you do, you want it to register, you want it to matter. And for all that, I technically am an NFL employee, right? So what I'm saying is not blowing smoke, though, because for all we love to give the NFL a hard time, a lot of people, and we love to question some of the things that they're doing. And some of the things they're doing as far as the 18-game schedule, I'm not on board with. I'm not just going to sit here and say, like, oh, everything that they do is perfect. They've made mistakes over the years. I still think some of the things that they do are questionable. But what they have done to make this sport as popular as it is, they've made a number of ingenious decisions. I watch baseball all the time, and I just don't understand how they cannot grasp the idea of revenue sharing the way that the NFL has. And now you have the haves and the have-nots in baseball. I'm like, I just, how do you not understand what the NFL has done and what the NBA has done to a certain extent as well? It's just what they have done to make this sport the most popular sport in America. I agree with a whole lot of it.
Yeah, I do too. And I'll be honest with you, I hear you on the 18 games. It doesn't mean I don't love it, because it's just more football. I know. Want the double bye, and then I want the President's Day Super Bowl.
Oh, it's just I've already. Well, first of all, the odd number of games I can't get over.
Right.
How 8-8 doesn't exist anymore. It's like 8-9 or 9-8. And, maybe there's a little bit of a. There's a decision. You're either on one side or the other. But the whole 8-8, in my mind, it's nice, it's even, it's clean. 9-8, 8-9 feels weird. You get to 18, there is an oversaturation point. I don't know where it is. I would have thought they would have gotten to it already. But these guys, you just watch what they go through. You watch how they put their bodies on the line. You watch how they put their minds on the line. It's a mentally exhausting game as much as it's a physically exhausting game. It's just like, and John Mara to me is one of the voice of reasons, right? Because these guys are all about, every time I ask, well, why is the NFL doing this? The answer is always the same: money. That's the answer. Why are they doing money? Well, why are they money? Okay. But John Mara understands that money is good and it's great and all that stuff, but there's also a product and a level of quality that you got to keep up. And he's been an advocate to keep it down to 16. He lost that battle, number one. And number two, the fan experience as well. He's all about that as well, which is why he was against the Monday flex and the Thursday flex and all that stuff. So there are voices in the room that agree with me, but they're not necessarily the majority voices all the time.
What happens? Were they with the for the international piece, the Brazil game? Are they? Do you like that?
No, I hated that. As a matter of fact, I was angry at that one. To be honest with you, like you engage your fan base all off season, and you're pointing everything toward week one. And then your team's home opener is in another country that's never hosted a game before. Like, if you did that game in week 4 or 5, fine. Okay. Right. But like the opener in Brazil, and I understand it's going to be a great trip for people, and maybe the average viewer doesn't care. I mean, maybe he's sitting at home and watching the game. He or she is sitting at home watching the game, and it doesn't matter if it's played in Lambeau or it's played whatever that stadium is down there. But to me, it just like, why are we doing this week one on a Friday too? Right? It's still summer. It's that last gasp of Friday nights and Saturdays in the summer. Even though it's after Labor Day, I didn't love that one. We'll see how it winds up. There's also,
it was odd too to start the season. Like, why have that? That's bizarre.
And a lot of teams. You can't have. I remember Ron Rivera a couple of years ago was talking about when they played Denver after playing them in the Super Bowl, and he felt like when they played week one the following year, it derailed their season because so much went into that. I don't think you can really have that right now, especially when you added the 17th game. If you get to 18, I mean, how far away is the football and the time of year that matters from week one? So I'm not going to sit here and say one of these teams is going to lose the game and it's going to be an excuse for a bad season. But it's definitely something that's just a little bit awkward as you try to get off the ground to play again in a place. And I hear what some of the players are saying with regard to who was it that was on a podcast recently? I think it was on with Chris Long talking about the colors that they're going to wear down there because you got to be careful. You see that?
No, but that's real. Like
I know
it really is real. In fact, I was at a conference. And there was a woman from Sao Paulo there. And I was asking her about the colors. And she's like, yeah, the Palmeiras, the Palmos or whatever, they're the rival, and they wear green. And they're like, green is evil. Green's the devil in Sao Paulo, right? So the other day, you probably saw this, but someone down there, the tickets went on sale, and they had a picture of the stadium, and the Eagles' end zone is black. So my guess is the Eagles will wear their black jerseys.
Interesting. How about that? All right. That's some good detective work by you, brother. I love that. But yeah, let's put the Kelly Green Eagles and the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Let's put those
it'll be gold and black. They'll be the color. Like, they'll go, the Packers will be all gold. Oh my God, it's crazy.
I mean, we'll be kicking off on a Friday in Brazil, and you won't even recognize the two colors of the team. What are we doing?
I agree. Hey, let's talk. I have a lot of stuff I want to talk to you about the league, but I do want to ask you to start off with the Eagles. And there's the whole debate going on, the way Jalen answered the question last week, the end of minicamp, as far as does he have Sirianni's back? Did he want Sirianni back? There's all this stuff going on. There was a debate whether or not Sirianni should have been back as coach. I'm just wondering where you fall in here.
Yeah, I mean, I think he should. I don't think you get rid of any coach that close to a Super Bowl appearance. It's crazy to me. But it's going to be important for him to get off to a fast start, and to bring in these coordinators that he has with skins on the wall, but also, it did not end well for Kellen Moore in Dallas. His stint with the Chargers wasn't great. I don't know how much was him versus what else was going on down there, or out there, I should say. And then Vic Fangio, you got the guys in Miami alluding to the fact that they just didn't like him at all down there. So these guys got to hit the ground running. They have to merge kind of offensively, particularly what they've done the last couple of years with some of these new ideas and not new, but fresh concepts in regard to bringing in a different voice as the offensive coordinator. So I think it's going to be big for him, and for Sirianni, to make sure this coaching staff gets off the ground running. What Brandon Graham said recently with regard to the coaching last year, and certainly he's talking more about the defensive side of the ball, but I think, he wasn't oblivious to what was happening offensively either. Brandon Graham's been around as long as he has, and he understands what's happening there. So there's a lot to be said there, and there's the guys that are still there, obviously, from last year, going to need to see that and get that confidence going early in the season.
The key, and again, Jalen, I think I don't want to say regressed, because that feels like a strong word, but he didn't play as well as he did the year prior, whether that was Brian Johnson, whether that was the play calling, the whole thing. Baldy and I watch the tape we break down the tape for all these games. And I mean, his mechanics were not good. He was seeing a lot of ghosts. He was escaping the pocket way too quickly. His eyes were down, not up. A lot of bad habits he got into, and he's got to get buttoned up this year. He's going into year 5 basically in this league. He's got to get buttoned up now.
If Brian Johnson were joining us right now and he were speaking freely, we gave him a nice dose of truth serum. He would tell you that some of this was on Jalen for sure, and because every coach, they spend the whole week doctoring up a game plan, and it's not like they come out of it and go, well, none of those were good ideas, right? It's just stuff didn't happen because this happened or this happened or this happened, and hey, we talked about that all week, and why did this So I'm sure that would be, if he was speaking the truth, his opinion on these things. But you're right, he wasn't trusting what he was seeing, and it's that lack of confidence I just talked about with Brandon Graham talking about this coaching staff. That's what you saw with this team, and the decision making. And the year before, it was all about people don't give Jalen enough credit for what he does and what he sees, and he's coming in at halftime and he's ready with some halftime adjustments. And a lot of times it happens between series on the sidelines, but he's coming back knowing what he saw and relaying that to the coaches. I don't think you saw that last year just with your own eyes watching it, saying, hey, that guy's coming off the field and he knows exactly what's happening. As a matter of fact, he looked the opposite. He looked like he was confused about what was happening on the field.
Yeah, I'm curious. The whole idea of, look, with Sirianni, I thought the same thing. He had great success coming in. You got to give him a chance to rectify it and to save it, right? I mean, I argue with the guys here a lot, and they go, well, what's Sirianni do that's good? And I do think he's got good ideas. I think he's bright. I think he's a good CEO. I think he's got promising attributes as a coach. I did wish that he took over the play calling last year. When things started to go south, I thought it was a big miss that he didn't step in and right the offense. I thought that was a mistake on his part.
He emphasizes the collaborative approach when it comes to play calling. So he's a little bit involved, and Kevin Patullo, another guy, the associate head coach, who Patullo is actually, he's been tasked with helping merge what Kellen Moore is bringing in, what he wants to do with what they've done the past couple of years, and communicate that to Jalen Hurts and to the offense. So he's a big part of this that maybe we don't talk enough about.
Yeah, I agree.
Particularly as we get into 2024 and see what this offense can do. So, that's the way that Nick approaches it, and it's not a Which, by the way, from day one, he never called. Like Steichen called plays from day one, if I'm recalling correctly. So
No, he
Nick
gave it up.
has never. Yeah, he's never been the play caller as he's been in
Well,
Philly.
he was
so
early.
That's his approach.
Remember, he was for about 6 weeks, and then he gave up the play calling. His first year.
So Steichen didn't take it from week one?
No.
I'm so,
Yeah, Sirianni had it early, and listen.
Yeah.
You're covering 30 teams, like, you know.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I thought he gave it. Yeah. So, and I think when they made that switch, it was like, well, this has kind of been how we've been doing things anyway. They played the collaborative approach back then to sell it as we're,
Yes.
you know, and Shane Steichen did a phenomenal job. I still go back to when Steichen was with the Chargers. Justin Herbert loved him.
Yeah.
And he wanted him to continue as the guy there, but Brandon Staley had a relationship with Joe Lombardi and wanted to bring him in. So Steichen then interviewed, I think, in Seattle, if I'm not mistaken, and then wound up in Philly. So he's a great offensive mind. He's a great play caller. I hope it works out for him in Indianapolis. They got a lot of stuff going on there. That's a whole other story. But as far as Nick and him as a head coach, I feel like the way that he coaches and his style and his competitiveness and everything we saw, the NFL Films did a great thing about him growing up in that household where it was just nonstop competitiveness. It's going to be the highs and lows, right? It's not going to be here. So when I sit there a lot of times and see a team that falls apart the way the Eagles did down the stretch last year, I'll say, well, that guy's got to go. It's done. To me, it was almost kind of like, well, it was so high year one or year two, excuse me. It was so low at the end last year. It's somewhere in between if you average it out. So you would think that maybe it would get up there and get back up there quickly. So I'm with you. That's why I don't sit here and say, well, he needed to go, because I feel like you're going to kind of live with these highs and lows with him.
How heavy will the specter of Belichick be in places like Philadelphia, Dallas, the Giants, right? Like he mentioned those teams. And so how that presence hovering, what kind of impact will that have?
Yeah. It's funny because I thought you were going to ask me about the Eagles. I was going to say it's hanging over the whole division. Well, 3/4 of the division anyway. So I agree with you. Yeah, that's going to be a big thing. And it's even a guy as accomplished as Bill Belichick. The best thing for him, you know, the old joke is, what's the best thing for your career as a rock and roll singer? To die, right? Like right. That's
Stones it's going to kind of last night.
Yeah, I heard Mick's killing it. Killing
it. Killing it. He was loving it.
My whole thing, I've had people have gone to see the Stones, and my whole thing with them is I just want to be awake at that hour at his age. That for him to then perform in front of 60,000 people. But for Belichick not coaching, you're going to forget about the stink of the last couple of years, and it's going to be, oh, this is the 6 ring guy. This is the guy that helped build that dynasty there. I thought, speaking of the dynasty, I thought the Apple show was just completely unfair. And Robert Kraft kind of washed his hands of it.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it was a Kraft production, and said, you know, he didn't have any creative control. Whatever the case was, I as I'm watching it, they win their first Super Bowl in that, and it's this like doomsday theme. And I'm like, they've got 5 more Super Bowls to go. And then they presented it before they beat the Rams as if it had already crumbled. I'm like, they still have 1 more Super Bowl to win.
I know. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So I think him being away and listen, him being on McAfee every week, which I think is a thing. I don't mean to roll my eyes. I'm just him being on McAfee is going to be as good for his career as anything else with regard to fan bases and clamoring for him. So, yeah, I think it's going to be huge.
Give me the 2 teams you really like in each conference that you go, you know what? These are my 2 favorites.
See, I always like what team is going to pop up that maybe we're not.
Yeah.
Not out of nowhere, because they very rarely out of nowhere, but maybe we're not paying enough attention.
On the rise. Yeah.
I'm going Chargers. I think that's a layup for a number of reasons.
He's the best. He's the best coach. He'll get that thing right. He'll get that thing right. He's a great coach, man.
Yeah. And there's talent on the team too. Right.
Yes.
I understand they need a little bit of work on that roster, but there's talent, and they drafted guys that they know and they feel good about. So they'll get some contributions from rookies that we don't even know about yet.
And Mikey,
so I'm going.
I can't talk enough about him. I love Horrible. I do. I love. He is a great what he did at San Francisco. Like we forget what he did at San Francisco,
like
what
that
he did
too.
at Stanford. Like everywhere he goes, he knows how to win, and he wins football. Right? Like he wins defense and run the ball.
Yeah, and he does it quickly. He gets these guys off the ground and gets them going quickly. So I'm going to take that layup there. In the NFC, I haven't really settled yet, but my candidates are Tampa Bay, which they made the divisional round last year, but I don't think we ever thought it. Like they made the divisional round because they won a bad division and they beat the Eagles who were floundering at the time.
I'm not in love
but
with
I
them.
think that they what's that?
I'm not in love with them.
I could see that. That's not your quarterback, right? That's not your guy.
you know who I like. You know my quarterbacks. Like
I know. Which is why I'm kind of like, is that really my team? But I also think the Rams. I think the Rams have done a lot of work. That's your kind of quarterback. Rams have done a lot of work to get that offensive line back in order. Sean McVay recapturing the feel, the love, the passion last year. I think they're ready to hit that. That might wind up being my team.
And listen, they had another great draft, and they never have early picks, right? Like nobody drafts as well as the Rams. It's unbelievable what not having first round picks for all those years, and they're getting Kyron Williams and Nakua, and they get one gem after another.
But you know what's funny? So I'm not disagreeing with you at all, okay? But sometimes I think about this and go, the teams that don't have the high picks sometimes, like they have to make these guys work, right? So do these guys flourish because they get more opportunities than maybe some other guys, right? Or they're more invested in these guys. Like I'm not disagreeing with you, right? You still got to hit on the pick, but sometimes I think because the Seahawks for a number of years were that team. They were not afraid to deal. They traded their ones for Percy Harvin and the likes of these guys, and it'd be like, oh well. But because they can hit on these guys, well, they have to, right? So I think it's a little bit of both. Because in this league, when you draft guys and you spend as much in the process as you do, spend as much time, spend as much effort, energy in the process, nobody comes away with like a bomb of a draft. It's more about how you're developing these guys as you go forward. So it's not like they made the mistake a lot of times on draft night. It's what happened that followed that afterwards. So, but I agree with you. I think you got to have enough faith in a team that they can get those guys, but also develop them as well.
How good are the Packers? By the way, I like that quarterback a lot.
Yeah. They're good. I mean, they're well coached. The quarterback we kept reading this on air. It would come up in copy or whatever, and I'd read it, and then I'd be like, "Is that right?" Jordan Love was second in the league in touchdown passes, and I'm like, every time I said it, I was like, "Is that like?" I'd have to go up and, oh, that's right. He was second in the league in touchdown passes last year. So you saw his confidence. You saw that swag in the playoffs. Certainly, they're going to pay him like a top quarterback.
Weapons, man, like. They're weapons. Like they're all young. They got just studs. And Musgrave at tight end. Like, damn.
So that was my team last year, right? Who's going to come up out of? And I felt awful about it after about 5 or 6 weeks. I was like, damn, I botched that one. But that was the way that they played at the end of the season. It got you craving more, and he did it at the right time because again, he's going to get paid coming up here, and he may very well get paid like Joe Burrow, if not above Joe Burrow. He may, because if they don't, he'll say, well, I'm going to play it out.
Yeah,
I'm going to ball out, and I'm going to make even more next year. So as a team, you have to make that decision. Like, this may look silly to a lot of people. Like he's got 1 year under his belt, and we're going to pay him as the top quarterback in the league. But if we wait and he hits, it's going to cost us even more.
Yep. Hey, real quick, just the division quickly, and thanks for joining us. What are they doing in Dallas? I don't understand the backfield. I don't understand their salary structure. Dak's going to be forced to do everything again, and then you're going to have to pay him. What's going on there?
there's enough talent that they're going to be good enough. It's not like they're going, 4-13. They'll be in the mix. I feel like they could have done more to help themselves this offseason. On the one hand, we're hearing that the Dak thing is just not going to happen contract-wise. And then Jerry and Steven are saying, no, we're still, words mean one thing. Offers and efforts to get something done mean another, and they just haven't been there to this point. So, that doesn't worry me as much if I'm the Cowboys, because he played well in 2 contract years before, the 1 year before the franchise and the 1 year when he was got hurt that year, but he was off to an amazing start that year. So I don't worry too much about that. McCarthy has done a good job of blocking it. You have to, if you're the coach of the Cowboys from day one, you better be able to block out noise. So he's done a good job of that. But there's some dynamics with that locker room and these guys waiting to get paid. Micah Parsons, it's just something feels a little bit off there. So I have trouble in my mind seeing them getting to that elite level this upcoming season, but I think they'll be competitive. You said the division, the rest of the division. I am off. I have been wrong on the Giants the last 4 years. Every time I think they're going to be good, they're terrible. Every time I think they're going to be terrible, they wind up being better than I expected. So I'm just going to go along for the ride.
I don't like the quarterback. I've never liked the quarterback. I don't understand.
I'm with you.
I just don't get why they're married to him.
Especially because it's a new regime.
Yes.
And usually the new regime, as soon as they see a little keyhole of light and opening to get their own guy, they jump on the chance. And
especially that guy. He waited to get a big job. He's a good coach. I'm thinking he's be stomping his feet looking for his quarterback.
Yeah. And I mean, they tried. They were making an effort with Washington and New England. Matter of fact, my understanding was they felt like there was some wiggle room with New England 2 weeks before the draft. And then kind of sort of got the rug pulled, not the rug pulled out from underneath it, but it was like, we think we got them. Because New England from pretty early on was like, we're going to entertain all offers, but you're going to have to blow us away. And then for whatever reason, they sensed that this might happen, and then it just didn't happen for them, and New England stayed put. And at that point, I'm always torn when it comes to this, because I know I wouldn't want them to force it. If let's say I'm owning a team and the general manager, I'm like, I don't want you to force it, right? And so when I was asked about what I thought what the Giants did, I said, well, if you're going to guarantee me that Joe Shane and Brian Daboll are not going to get fired after this upcoming season, like if you told me under no circumstances they're getting fired, I'm fine with the draft. But if you told me that, well, we'll see what happens this year, then they probably should have forced themselves to get a quarterback at that point. And then with Washington, I think they're going to be tough. They're going to be a tough out, right, this year. They'll probably go around somewhere at 7-10, 8-9. And they're just going to be the team that if you need a win late in the season, you're going up against them, you probably don't want to play. That's the way I kind of see those guys. So I think it's wide open at the top.
Yeah, I love Daniels. I do. I think Daniels can be something. Mikey G, we love you, buddy. Listen, God bless your girls. All right, happy Father's Day.
Thank you, buddy. Happy Father's Day to you. I hope you get an hour or so of appreciation. It's not going to be a whole day. You know how it goes. Like Mother's Day. Mother's Day is like the Olympics. There's opening ceremonies. It lasts a while. Just give me an hour. Just give me the length of a cigar right here. Okay, just give me that.
Give me 18 at U.S. Open, right? Like that's it. Oh man.
Listen. Last year we had the West Coast U.S. Open.
Yes,
that's the best.
That's
the best. And everybody's in bed. That's great. Yeah. Give me that.
Yeah, that was the greatest. I agree. That was the best. Anthony began his football workouts this morning for St. Augustine. He's graduating 8th grade tonight, and then he begins his workouts today. This morning. He's at camp.
I cannot wait for the first Baldy's breakdown of Anthony's. What position is he playing?
Linebacker, edge, and he plays tight end too.
If I don't see a Baldy's breakdown this upcoming season of Anthony's film, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Love you, brother. Thank you, pal.
Love you, pal. Happy Father's Day to you and all the fathers out there. What you do is is not appreciated enough.
Amen, brother. Amen. The great Mike Garafolo, NFL Network. We love him. He is family. All right, boys. A lot of fun as always. JP, hit us with some business. And then the clubhouse. Because I know VG is pumped up talking about the Stones, baby. I love it.
I get it. I completely get it, VG. But real quick, let's talk about some business here. You know, Mike was just talking about not getting enough appreciation for the dads. Well, you know what else doesn't get a lot of appreciation is a credit union that backs you up with your finances. And that's why we're talking about TrueMark Financial here, ladies and gentlemen. We've talked about my stories with some horror stories with banking. With TrueMark Financial, they make banking comfortable here for you. And let's talk a little bit about joining a credit union like TrueMark Financial. Because you become a part owner, which means profits are coming right back to you instead of going to some of those shareholders. Better rates, lower fees, a better return on savings with more flexible options, and all the same digital tools that you can get at your bank. TrueMark has local roots, and that's the best part about it because we love rooting for local. Located right here in Fort Washington with their 24 branches here in the Philadelphia area. Like I say, guys, we always root for local, and that's why TrueMark Financial is a credit union for you. Becoming a member of a credit union has so many benefits over becoming a customer at a bank. Guys, this is an absolute no-brainer. And here's what you got to do. Guys, get your credit union career started today. Head on over to truemark.com/PHLY to learn more, or if you're a little bit old school like myself, you can go right to the branch. Like I said, 24 branches in the Philadelphia area. They have amazing people that are working there that are ready to help you and answer any question you may have as well. But if you want to go online, again, that's truemark.com/PHLY, federally insured by the NCUA. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it is currently 10:37 in the morning here on the Anthony Gargano Show. We would like to take a quick second to thanking everyone for tuning on in. Whether you're watching live on YouTube or listening in your car through podcasts, thank you so much. If you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Subscribe for all of your future viewings of the Anthony Gargano Show. Hit that bell button too, because that'll give you the notification, let you know exactly when we are live. And like I said, we're available on podcast streaming sites, Apple, Google, Spotify. Subscribe. We would appreciate if you leave a rating there as well. You can listen to the Anthony Gargano Show wherever you are at. And here's what's on the docket at PHLY Studios here today. At 12 p.m., our PHLY Eagles team is live. At 1, we have the PHLY Flyers. At 2:30, PHLY Sixers goes live. And then tonight's PHLY Phillies will go live for the post-game show as the Phillies take on the Red Sox. Tune in after the game for that post-game show. Now let's keep you up to date here, guys, because we have some fun events. We just had our Phillies London Series watch party this past weekend. It was a fantastic time. Make sure you guys keeping up. Listen, June is draft month here for winter sports, right? The NBA, the NHL drafts, we got you covered with the watch parties. On June 26th, PHLY Sixers got you covered over at Garage in Fishtown. That's going to be a lot of fun. We have some Coors Light specials as well. And of course, on June 28th, that Friday, that same Friday that week, we have the PHLY Flyers watch party alongside with Broad Street Hockey. They'll be live from Bet Park Sportsbook in South Philadelphia. So if you guys want to watch both of these drafts, make sure you guys keep PHLY in mind. Head on over to allphly.com/events for further information. But that's what we got here on the docket here today.
Also, hey, Jim Salisbury, it's why you want to become a diehard, right? Has a great piece on, he talked to Eric Kratz about the timetable it took for him for JT to get back from the meniscus.
Thank you for that, cuz that's right.
So Jimmy is, tremendous.
It's great stuff. That's why you guys got to be
our
diehard.
insiders. We got great insiders. Like I'm a big believer in journalism, which is one of the reasons why we wanted to do this. So our insiders give you stuff that you're not going to get. And more content, more written stuff is on the way as well. Let's go Clubhouse, baby.
Kratzy.
Kratzy.
Haven't heard that name in a while. JP, you killed it. I don't know how you do all those reads. I'm out of breath just listening to you do it, man.
He does a good job.
Kills it. Yeah,
he does. He does a great job.
They ask a lot. They ask a lot of them.
This portion of the program brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out the TrueMark, the credit union difference at truemark.com/PHLY. All right, VG's Nugs. Let's do some Nugs, and then there's a lot that we got to cover today.
Well, as Mick said, you can't always get what you want.
That was good, man.
Hey, Nugs, Schwarber nuggets are everywhere. They were like falling out of the sky yesterday after last night's game. Kyle Schwarber's got 13 multi-home run games since joining the Phillies in 2022.
13?
That is second only to Mr. Aaron Judge
Wow.
with 20.
Damn. He's got 20?
20.
The Schwarberian.
Yeah, Schwarber
Schwarberfest.
second. Decent.
How many? I wonder how many Schmidt he had.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
That's interesting. It's because you're right. The Schwarber 13 is impressive.
In 2 years. Yeah. Other one, he's Mr. June, right? That's what we say. But is he? If we dig into the numbers, is he Mr. June? Fewest at-bats per home run in the month of June in Major League Baseball history. Kyle Schwarber is number one at 10.4. Babe Ruth, 10.6.
Wow.
Mark McGwire, 10.8. Yeah, he is Mr. June.
He
with the power
is
hitting.
a June. He's all
The
about
numbers
the
do not
June.
lie.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're not
man.
making this up with
More
June.
than Babe Ruth. That's a great
Fewer
number.
at-bats.
Is it Schwarberfest right now at Wawa?
I mean, if
Did it
it's
start?
not, if Schwarberfest is not during June at Wawa, we need to have a
usually
talk
is.
with their marketing director.
Has to.
Yeah.
All right. So according to StatMuse, Schmitty had 44 games with 2 or more home runs in his career.
44.
Wow.
Substantial.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing.
Just cracking an ollie pop.
Hey.
Need the
You're
fiber.
gonna pop it, baby.
That's what's popping up with
Ollie
BG.
pop.
It's good.
What
Love
kind
it.
you go? Lemon lime?
I like the lemon lime,
Yeah,
the
it's
ginger
good.
ale. They feel a little even healthier if it's possible with
Yeah.
ollie pop. They actually feel even healthier.
I like
Love
the
it.
ginger ale.
Yeah. It's nice.
Ginger ale strong.
It is
Yeah,
strong.
it
It's
is
got a
good.
real like natural ginger.
I'm a ginger ale guy. Like,
Yeah.
once in a while, like I love it.
I love it as a
ale.
mixer with my
Yes.
liquor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, without a doubt.
Schweppes.
I'll even go old school. Do a little Shirley Temple with the ginger ale.
Shirley Temple.
Ooh.
JoJo.
Cherry
There you go.
juice in there or some triple sec.
That's an Embiid.
Yes, it is. It'd be.
Also, that was a Donovan McNabb.
No
Oh,
way.
don't tell me
Really?
that. I'm out. I'm done with the
Donovan loved
Shirley
Shirley
Temples?
Temple
I didn't know that.
years ago.
Man.
But you remember my buddy Pete had Mezzaluna
Yes.
on
Yes.
8th and Catherine,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
So I bring Donovan to Mezzaluna. And we're getting something to drink, right? And he orders a Shirley Temple.
All right.
And he goes, I love my Shirley Temple.
I mean, they're delicious. They're refreshing.
My uncles used to always make them for me because they'd always be sitting around drinking.
Yeah.
So to make me feel like a part of the guys, they'd give me a Shirley
that's right.
Temple,
Yeah,
you know?
Like that.
Yeah.
I was like,
that's
yeah,
cool.
I felt cool, you know?
My grandpa was a bartender. Like he would make holidays when I was like 8. I'd get a Shirley Temple.
Dude,
Yeah.
my grandfather had he had the 12T bar on 12th and Tasker. And I would go watch the Phillies game on the Sunday afternoon. And he would they used to have those glasses. It was the tumblers. Like it was tall, thin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was like the greatest anything tasted good out of that.
Oh, yeah.
When you're a kid too, you
Yeah.
feel like so old. Like you
Yeah.
feel like you're with them.
Yeah.
You know what? We keep finding nuggets with this trio of pitchers: Wheeler, Ranger, Nola. They have a 700 winning percentage, a sub 3 ERA, a sub 200 opposing batting average, and a sub 1.0 WHIP. There's been no trio of pitchers since 1913 that have had these numbers on any given day, and they've had these
Oh
numbers
my
for
God.
weeks.
This is insane.
Oh my God.
How about Stromer too? He's got like less than 1 ERA.
He's got no earned run since March.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
No,
insane.
it's crazy.
Do those numbers
Their
change?
pitching is sick.
It's insane.
Listen, Boston lineup is not a bad lineup.
Right.
You got Devers,
Mhm.
right?
Oh, yeah,
Like, you
Devers is
got
great.
Right, like you got Yoshida. You got decent bats, man.
Yeah.
And my God, like Wheeler, and he's like clockwork.
Yeah.
You get like those great pitchers. You get him a little bit until he gets into a rhythm. Like first inning, you know, he's a little off, right? He don't have great command. And then the next thing you know, he gets on that roll, and he's unhittable.
Good thing Stubbs calmed him down, got him in focus into his groove. Wheeler's kind of cool. He exudes a coolness.
I agree.
Right? Yeah.
I'm a big Wheeler fan.
Even his post game
Same.
interviews, he's like
Yes.
just cool about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Talk about cool.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
wheels.
Jim Bowden is mentioned a name that I'm not excited about. I don't think he's good for this clubhouse.
Oh, man.
Lewis Robert Jr. is one of the names, but Tommy Pham. That guy seems like a J.O., right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of friends around the league.
No.
Nah, I'm out on him.
Yeah.
I'm out on the Pham.
Yep. On the Pham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, I don't think he's any good anymore.
No.
Here was a moment where I thought he was actually be a good ball player.
Right.
But nah.
He's average.
Yeah.
The London trip, the guys were all out there from 08. They continued their trip. They went a little golfing.
Saw this.
You got a J-Roll
picture.
went golfing with Peace, Shane, and Rob McElhenney, who is another. He's still got the shirt tucked in tight.
Well,
he's out
that's
on the links.
fine though. That's golf. You can
It
talk.
is, but it's a tight tuck.
He loves a tuck.
Yeah.
He
Wait,
wears
so-
baggy clothes too for his fit.
It is a tight tuck.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you,
You need some swing. You do need some swing in that shirt. There's no
I
swing.
need a little play in there.
Rob loves the UK. He's got his team in Wales. He's hanging out in London, golfing in Scotland.
What's not to love? Yeah.
He's been
It's
involved in a
interesting.
lot of Philly stuff recently.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if there's something under the radar with this Jeffrey Lurie thing. Selling a minority stake.
No, you think he's got that kind of money?
Screw it. No,
I don't think not individually. I don't think he has that money, but he did
Buy
go
the
in with
union.
Ryan Reynolds for. It could be a Bradley Cooper, Rob McElhenney thing. There could be something that's in the works.
maybe.
Possibility.
I need
'Cause he
Rob
is-
for the union, Andrew. I need him to buy
a
the union.
10% stake is a lot of money, man.
Yeah, that is a lot of
Oh,
money.
I know.
You're
Talking
talking
like
about
hundreds of millions.
But he did send out a
700
tweet.
It's a $7 billion.
Yeah,
that's $7 billion. Yeah.
He did send out a tweet, and maybe it was just him joking around, but he said, Jeffrey Lurie, check your DMs.
Yeah, I did see that.
So,
Yeah.
if he's in a
you
group
never
with
know.
somebody.
Listen, God bless, man. He did really well. That series was amazing.
The weather looks more UK-ish in that photo. They were all bundled up with the windbreakers and stuff. A little gray overcast.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
I like, speaking of golf, because we were talking about the U.S. Open
Yeah.
and all, I love the British Open.
That's the best.
The British Open is all because first you have the wind is ridiculous, right? So you have the winds,
Yes.
and then you have the elements of the rain and sideways.
And they do those NFL films, old school trailer
Yes.
about the elements
Yeah.
and the wind.
Yeah, I love that.
So good.
Last year was kind of
the
tepid.
tone.
I was disappointed. I love when it's nasty.
Yeah.
Well, it's where golf originated, right? Right
Yeah.
there. So it's it comes back to the homeland, you know, golf and its real elements.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I am not happy about this announcement from our boy Callum Scott, Dancing on My Own remix guy.
Mm-hmm. I saw it still.
He's playing the Fillmore on 1010, and he's doing hashtag ring the bell. I'll be here during Red October. Coincidence? I don't know how I'm feeling.
Also,
Why?
the Fillmore?
I kind of over this song.
Yeah,
I
I'm
am
over it
too.
too.
I'm
We're
over it.
cruising right now. I don't.
You want to put the song to bed?
I would
Yeah,
like to.
I think it's time.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's
I
definitely
agree.
time.
He feels like he's a year too
all
late.
Three, you guys?
He's a year late on this.
Yeah, last year would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I felt
but-
like last year was time to put it to bed. I feel like it was just it was signified that run, that World Series run.
Well,
I felt
right,
like it was
2 years ago when it comes into play.
yeah.
Right?
That was when it was special.
But last year you could still, you still were riding it out. I don't know. It's got no staying power for any of you guys?
Well, see, there's certain songs that are for specific teams. So, Dreams and Nightmares is the other one. For me, that I always think about the 2017 Eagles.
Yeah.
The Dancing on My Own, I think the 2022 Phillies.
Yeah.
Those songs are for a specific team in the Pacific.
But the
Okay, so
core,
you
the
don't
core is
think it
kind of the
could
same.
What's up?
It's kind of the same core though of guys who made that song their
Right.
song. They've added Trey, but it's usually the heart and soul guys are the same guys.
That's what I'm saying. You don't think it could run?
But
Got no run?
think of the situation though. They were a wild card team. They're up against it. They had a new manager. It worked because they were
but the
dancing on their
song is-
own.
I don't know what the song doesn't signify anything other than it's the song.
But it's like they're dancing in the corner watching some guy.
The reality is though, in October I'll be singing this song. all night.
I mean,
if they do
sure.
it, if they're with it, I'll be doing it. I'll be at the Callum Scott show probably.
When you see it, think about it. When you see people singing that song, it's hard not to get chills.
Yeah, I'll be all there.
Yeah.
I know, but I kind of.
But it's like I'm in the corner.
He'll be around the corner from here.
Yeah,
but-
right.
All right, so we get him in.
Don't you think Fillmore's a little small? I feel like he's gonna pull out a big crowd for that.
Well,
especially Phillies fans.
he's hashtagging. Yeah, he's trying to get the Philly fans out to the
It's
show.
gonna be packed. I mean, Fillmore is not that big, especially the big stage of it.
We got to get him in here.
Oh, come on, cuz.
That'd be cool.
Hey, we were watching hockey the other night, and we talked about Edmonton. Edmonton Oilers have the record for the most goals in a playoff series.
Interesting.
44 goals.
All right, let me try to guess something here.
Yeah.
So this is the Gretzky, Messier, Coffey, Glenn Anderson,
Yes.
and it was in 87?
85
85.
That was good though.
against the Blackhawks. They put up 44 goals in 5 games.
Oh
Wow,
my
That's
God.
insane.
That's insane.
44 goals in 5 games?
Yeah, I got to try to find
What were the scores?
They're like putting up 10 spots and 11 spots.
It's like a baseball
They were
game.
that good.
40. Yeah, but look at that.
Those teams
team.
were so good though. Those Oilers teams.
Oh my God, dude.
Oh.
They were ridiculous.
The other one I used to watch a lot of highlights of. Those Oilers teams.
Did you really? Yeah. The goalie was Grant Fuhrer.
Yeah.
That name.
Yeah. Paul Coffey. I mean,
Yeah.
they were so stacked. But yeah, they lost one game. But,
Asa Tikkanen.
oh, man. I used to love Asa Teagan. That's a great pull. All right, here's the scores. Edmonton won game 1, 11-2.
Damn.
They won game
Wow.
game 2, 7-3. They lost game 3, 5-2. They lost game 4, 8-6, and then they win game 5, 10-5.
Jeez.
Wow.
Game 6, 8-2.
Talk about
Wow.
that blue line, huh?
Oh my God. So 44 goals in 6 games.
It's the highest series of all time because combined they put up 69 goals in 6 games. Yeah,
Wow.
crazy.
Oh,
Right?
That's
Over.
outrageous.
Insane.
Oh, Brad would have lost that series.
Yeah, yeah.
Mr.
He'd be
Under.
hurting.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Overs.
All right, we'll do your boy's back, Ben Simmons. He's got a little Instagram story for everybody. He's gambling. He's betting on himself. It hits different, he says, when you bet on yourself and it pays off.
This guy.
Oh, God.
How many times have we seen this? Come on.
This guy's not real, man.
Talk about put it to
He's
bed.
coming back.
He's coming back.
Ben's coming back and play defense.
He lacks like awareness. Like he doesn't know what the heck is going on. He was living in
You
his
know what
own.
the shame is? He could actually be an asset if he just said, I want to play defense.
He can't.
And that's it.
He can't
and
do
push
it.
the ball.
He can't do it. And
There's
rebound.
Yeah.
Like, because he can still rebound and play D.
Great defender when he was, in his
No, he can't do it. He
his
just,
prime.
It's amazing. His prime. Think about it.
Yeah,
He's not even that
literally.
old, right?
I know.
What is he, like
Still young,
27?
right? Like, and you think about his body and skill set of defense, rebounding, and seeing the floor. Somebody should have been able to reach him and make him into a player. And like in a league where role players can flourish,
Yes.
he's a perfect role player.
Yeah.
Dev
great role player.
Miliano says in the chat, he's the most cringeworthy athlete ever.
Yes.
Oh no,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
100%.
We were talking about cool, right? Because of the Stones.
Yeah.
And how and you nailed it. Like they walk in a room and they're like they're the coolest dude. Like they're just cool, right? They're just
Yeah, even though they look.
80 years old. Nobody's worried about getting facelifts or
Nobody's getting
whatever.
Botox in that band.
Right? Like you're just going, yeah, baby. They're drinking, smoking.
It's like,
Enjoy life.
Yeah, you look like you're 3 steps from death. Like this is just, and it's the coolest thing in the world, right? And God bless, to be able to play for 2.5 hours is freaking awesome.
On a
man.
Tuesday
Stadium.
night.
Tuesday night, 60,000 people filling out. Like what?
Give a yo to the old heads who were out at the show last
Yeah,
night.
but all my friends were.
Hey, Christian McCaffrey is on the cover of Madden.
Oh boy.
And, people say the curse is over. He's taunting the gods. He came out and he said, so when I get the call, I wasn't thinking about any curse. I was just excited. I think that stuff's kind of a myth. And whatever happens,
Ow.
happens.
Myth.
No, you can't tempt the gods like that.
Oh, man, he
He's wild
spit
for that
in the
one.
face
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
gods.
Yeah, if you're in
He
fantasy
hopped
draft,
a loogie. He went.
It's not a myth.
Curse.
yeah, avoid him in fantasy draft.
a real
I'm not
thing,
touching
yeah.
that.
And by the way, he told me he's not a guy waiting to fall off a cliff.
Yes.
Right? Like, we all know running backs, and we all understand that, right? He's waiting to fall off a cliff. I wouldn't touch him at all in fantasy.
Nah, he's due.
Oh, yeah.
All right, one more. I think this will grind your gears a little bit. Skeens played yesterday.
Yeah.
He leaves the game after 6.1 innings, 8 Ks, and he gave up 5 hits. And the Cardinal fans had a little message for him when he left. See if we can hear it. The Cardinal fans give him a standing ovation for leaving the game. He gave up 5 hits. He pitched 6 runs. It's not a no-hitter.
I need some context from St. Louis.
What?
What's going on? Why?
Baseball heaven here. What the hell are they thinking?
What?
No
You can't give him a standing ovation for that.
No.
Six innings?
Listen,
6 in
you
the
know,
third?
he pitches 6 innings and strikes out 18 guys.
Right.
I go, all right, I'm gonna give you standing up.
Yeah.
But not for a pedestrian. I mean, listen, it was good.
It's a normal
But
start.
by the way, lost in that, because I actually checked, I'm a box score checker
Mhm.
in the fantasy baseball, right? I saw Miles Mikolas, who was their starter, had a no-hitter through 6 innings.
That's amazing.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing
Good
because he
pitching
gave
duel.
up 5 hits, some skis.
Right.
That's
So
wild.
Mikolas, who was out-dueled Skeens.
No standing ovation for him, though?
I don't know
So-
what happened.
Oh,
but
he
who
better. He better have.
knows?
Come
But
on.
he was
Lou.
he actually out-pitched.
That's crazy.
Amazing. It is crazy.
Yeah, made no sense.
I thought St. Louis was a good sports town.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
We're going to make a baseball heaven stop with that Scott
Oh, that's a
Rowland
little bit. Yeah, it's a little much.
nonsense. All right. Time out, best and worst. And don't forget, our
Jersey.
back in the day moment brought to you by Rite Aid. All of your goods at riteaid.com. What's that?
The South Jersey Jack just checking in, calling the Cardinals cuck fans.
Yeah.
Way to go, Jack! I like it.
It's true.
I like it. Of course, our back in the day moment is the Stones
man.
last night, taking everybody back in the day. Was that your best of the evening, VG?
It was, but there was another moment that was the best of the best. And it's, Mick mentioned, we're here in London. We're here and the Phillies were just in London. But he gave a shout out to the Fanatic. They actually put the Fanatic standing at guard at Buckingham Palace, as part of the show. They put up
Get
they
out
put
of
up the
here.
image behind on the big screens. They put the Fanatic up and gave him some props last night at the show.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
How
that was
about
the best. Yeah.
That's a great spot. Oh, my God. I love that.
Sick. I like that.
That's very cool, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Who's your best?
All right. So my best, you're going to appreciate this. So we had the European Championship for high jump, right? So from the Italia, we had Gianmarco Tamberi, who jumped 2.34 meters, which I got the conversion in feet. For all my Americans out there, 7.67 feet he jumped. But the best part about it, because this is his literal shit face.
Yeah, dude.
Half beard?
What is going
He's
on?
rocking the
Half beard.
What is that?
And
my
then the
God.
best
He's
part,
like Two-Face.
the best part about it, literally.
He's a two-faced bastard.
So, and then after that, guys, and I'll show you guys here, but he then obviously.
What is that? It's freaking me out.
It's weird looking, right?
Half beard.
It's a guy who
What is
he's
that?
a good-looking guy. He looks
Oh,
like a
you guys-
model, completely clean-shaven on his one
That's
side
some
and a
weird
full beard on
stuff.
the other
You're
side.
gonna have to ask your
VG,
place.
do
I
that.
don't know.
Do it one
The
day. Just
half
shave
beard
it.
is a thing?
You were just in Italy. Is it a thing over there?
I didn't see any half beards.
No, I think he's a little bit off because then he's elated. He's now crouching. He's taking his shoe off because he had springs in his shoes, like literal springs, and he pours it out for everyone to see. I don't know if that's
What? Is that legal?
Is that legal?
How can you have springs in your
like,
sneakers?
like bed
And he's a
springs?
half a beard. What's wrong with that
because
guy?
he's a little off, which is a pretty.
Yeah, yeah.
This
It's
is
like a
hilarious.
cartoon.
He's not
So
born
that's
in
my
Italy.
best, Gianmarco Tamberi.
I don't know if it's the best or the worst. That's crazy.
It was hilarious, that's for sure.
Oh my God. That's
heck?
nuts.
Half beard.
Oh man. All right, your best. What is your best?
That was my best.
I'll be your worst.
My worst was so you guys remember the guy who got tased from the Phillies back in like the late 2000s?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, cause the fan has evolved in 2024. Cause last night in Cincinnati we had a similar situation. Fan runs out on the field, but cause he gets tased in style. And this is the video here. Here he is, thinking he's the man. He does the backflip with the cop right there, and then the cop does the deed.
Oh, the backflip into the tase. Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
That's the jerk off moment of the day.
They have evolved, cuz. They have evolved.
Come on, man. Like, why do like people run on the field?
I don't know.
Like, you know.
Do the backflip for everybody to see.
Yeah.
Well, I think the one in Citizens Bank Park in the late 2000s was from Cherry Hill. So we would talk about that in high school for like a day.
Did you really?
That guy, yeah.
It's wild.
Amazing. All right, what was your worst?
I spent 45 minutes at the South Philly DMV yesterday getting a new license. Picture taken. Not fun.
DMV suck.
Everyone in there has lost their mind.
Yeah.
Everyone's there are people angry, cursing out the poor people who work there. I was the couple next to me. Oh, there's me. There's a picture of me sitting there. That's my seat for 40 minutes. At
They all look the
South
same.
Philly DMV. Yeah.
Well, thank God you had the phone, though, to keep you occupied.
I was Bet Parks.
Yeah.
I was doing slot machines.
He's
while waiting there.
He's doing slot machines, working on his nugs.
Yeah, it's just a pit of hell that no one needs to do that. Thank God it's only once every like 4 years.
Dude,
I got to check mine.
It's amazing. It's amazing how people like the red tape. There's got to be a better system. Like, you can't do anything online.
Right.
Like, there has to be a better system than the red tape that we deal with stuff.
My thing was I was all ready to go. I just had to pop in with my card, my photo card, and it took forever.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And the people who work there are like, when you first walk in, they're yelling like they're TSA agents. Photo cards inside, driver exams inside. Oh my gosh.
Why can't they just make it online?
I got a little, nugget.
A cuz nug.
Yeah.
A Stones nugget from Uncle Frank.
Oh.
Okay. Uncle Frank checking in. He got a secure, one of his guys at the Four Seasons said every time the Stones came to town, he said Mick and Ron Wood would visit museums while Keith and everybody else would be tearing up the joint, smoking, getting up crazy.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's good intel from Uncle Frank. Can I give a quick yo to a local guy?
Please.
Inquirer food critic and writer Craig Laban, who is fantastic about
Craig's the best.
His pieces on new restaurants is great. He won a James Beard Award
did
for
he?
writing.
Should.
Yes.
Oh, that's
He did a
fantastic.
piece. He did like a long piece about. He went to Mexico with the woman who owns the canteen, Martinez. She does.
The Cantina?
She used to do South Philly barbacoa.
Yeah.
So he did a trip with her back to Mexico, and he won. He won a James Beard Award. It's a big deal.
Love to do that.
No, it's a huge award.
Yeah.
No, he's fantastic. Great writer, great palate. I mean, he takes that to the next level. I mean,
That's awesome.
He's the best at when it comes to food writing. It's legit. He's amazing. All right, well, that's going to do it. A lot of fun today, as always.
Yeah.
All right.
Always good.
Always good hanging out.
Always great.
Thank you for hanging with us. We love you guys. Listen, be careful. All right. Be safe. Have fun. All right. And we'll see you in the morning. Thanks, everybody.
We all silly like the mayor.